If you're watching this right now, I need you to pay very close attention because this is about something that could change the course of your life in the United States. Major changes are coming to naturalization in 2025, and if you're an immigrant, whether you're just starting your journey or have been living here for years, this information could affect your eligibility, your timeline, and even your strategy for becoming a U.S. citizen. These changes are not rumors, they're real, and they could impact thousands of applicants. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to expect and how to prepare to protect your dream of becoming a U.S. citizen. Let's start with the first big change. Historically, naturalization has involved a set process. You file your Form N-400, meet the residency and good moral character requirements, complete the civics and English tests, and then attend an interview. That core process isn't going away, but the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USCIS, is planning to implement new policies that could affect how your application is reviewed and approved. One key area is the evaluation of your continuous residence and physical presence. USCIS is introducing stricter documentation requirements. This means you might need to provide more proof of your time in the United States, including detailed travel records, tax filings, and employment history. For many immigrants, this is a change from what they were used to, where rough estimates or basic documentation often sufficed. Take the example of Maria, who moved to the United States from Mexico 10 years ago. Under the old rules, she filed her naturalization application with basic copies of her green card and a few employment pay stubs. That was usually enough. Under the 2025 changes, Maria may now be required to submit detailed records showing every trip outside the United States, including dates and reasons for travel, plus proof that she maintained ties to the U.S. This is not meant to make the process harder arbitrarily. It's meant to ensure that applicants truly meet the residency requirements, but it does mean that preparation is more critical than ever. Another significant change involves the civics test. USCIS has announced plans to update the content and structure of the test starting in 2025. This will not only include new questions about U.S. government, history, and civics, but there may also be a shift towards scenario-based questions. Imagine being asked to apply your knowledge to a real-life situation, rather than simply reciting facts. For example, instead of just knowing the 3 branches of government, you might be asked how a particular branch would handle a scenario involving local or federal issues. This emphasizes understanding over memorization, which is excellent for building informed citizens, but it also means you need to prepare differently. Flashcards alone may not be enough. English language requirements are also evolving. USCIS is working to clarify how they assess reading, writing, speaking, and comprehension. For some applicants, especially non-native speakers, this could mean additional preparation or practice before your interview. For instance, if your English is conversational but not formal, you may be asked to demonstrate understanding of official documents, letters, or forms during the interview. This ensures that new citizens can fully participate in civic life, but it's important to understand that preparation is key. Practicing with official forms and sample interviews can make a big difference. The timeline for processing applications is another critical area. USCIS has indicated that starting in 2025, the agency will use updated digital tracking systems to streamline processing, but it also means that if your application is missing information or documentation, delays could happen more quickly than in the past. For example, an incomplete N-400 with missing proof of residency could now be flagged immediately, and your application could be put on hold until you provide the necessary documents. This is different from before, when USCIS might have allowed minor issues to be corrected later. The key takeaway here is to double-check every piece of documentation before submission. Let's talk about interviews. Interviews will continue to be a central part of the naturalization process, but USCIS is emphasizing more structured evaluations of an applicant's background, employment history, and moral character. This is not meant to intimidate anyone, but applicants should be prepared to answer questions clearly and honestly about their work, community involvement, and travel history. For example, if you volunteered in your community or contributed to local organizations, be ready to discuss that in detail. Providing evidence of your engagement and moral character can now play a bigger role in the overall decision-making process. Fees and costs are also something to consider. While the naturalization fee itself may not dramatically increase, USCIS has announced that certain additional services, like fingerprinting or requests for expedited processing, may see updates in fees. Budgeting for these potential changes now can prevent surprises later. Many immigrants don't realize that even small changes in fee structures can affect when they file or how they prepare financially. One area that's particularly important for families is the impact on conditional residents and green card holders. USCIS is making it clearer how conditional permanent residents transition to naturalization. For example, if you received your green card through marriage and your status is conditional for 2 years, the updated 2025 rules may require extra documentation proving that your marriage was bona fide before you even submit a naturalization application. This emphasizes honesty and transparency, which ultimately strengthens the integrity of the system, but it also means preparation matters more than ever. It's also worth noting that USCIS is continuing to prioritize digital access and online applications. While this makes filing more convenient, it also requires careful attention to detail. Uploading incorrect files, naming documents incorrectly, or missing mandatory fields could trigger delays or requests for additional evidence. Think of it as a new standard of precision that applicants need to follow to avoid unnecessary delays. For immigrants with special circumstances, such as military service or certain employment-based statuses, USCIS is updating guidelines to ensure these applicants are treated fairly while still meeting the new requirements. If you fall into one of these categories, it's important to review the official updates carefully and consider professional guidance to avoid mistakes. Small errors can have larger consequences under the 2025 rules. So what does all of this mean for you? It means preparation is no longer optional, it's essential. Start by reviewing your travel history, your employment documents, tax filings, and any personal records that can demonstrate your continuous presence in the United States. Practice for the updated civics test using scenario-based questions. Enhance your English skills with real forms and letters, not just memorization. And make sure every section of your N400 is accurate and complete before submission. These steps can save months of stress and potential delays. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on why these changes are happening. The U.S. government wants to ensure that new citizens are fully prepared to participate in society, understand their rights and responsibilities, and maintain integrity throughout the process. It's not about making things harder. It's about creating a stronger, more informed community of citizens. Knowing this can help you approach the process calmly and strategically, rather than with fear or uncertainty. Finally, for anyone watching who may feel overwhelmed, remember that help is available. Immigration attorneys, accredited representatives, and reputable guidance channels like Legal Focus USA exist to help you navigate these updates. Preparing now, staying informed, and seeking advice when needed can make the difference between a smooth naturalization process and unnecessary delays or complications. In summary, the major naturalization changes coming in 2025 involve stricter documentation for residency, updated civics and English assessments, more precise evaluation during interviews, digital processing standards, and additional attention to conditional residents and special categories. The bottom line is that preparation, accuracy, and awareness are more important than ever. Take your time, gather your documents, practice your skills, and approach the process strategically. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe to Legal Focus USA for more updates on U.S. immigration law, practical guidance, and news that affects immigrants in the United States. Stay informed, stay prepared, and take control of your path to citizenship.